Hello, cosmic beings. Welcome to Being Cosmic. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I am so glad that each and every one of you are here. I'm going to do a collective message today. So, with that, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. I would also like to say thank you for all the likes, shares, comments, subscribes, and donations. They all really, really do help out the channel. So, thank you. Okay, so for today's message, a lot of times I'll just kind of like tap in and see where it goes. This one, I was given a little more insight and guidance on what we're going to be talking about today. So this is going to be a confirmation message for a divine masculine who's wondering if they have the twin flame connection, um, and just to bring some clarity around it. The thing with these connections, they are very confusing. They are extremely intense. And it can be very confusing to come to this awareness. Um, okay, this could be a situation where you maybe like you dated this person in the past. Let's say you guys were together for like, I don't know, 4 months or something, like 20 years ago. And there is still a level of connection you feel with this person, and it defies logic. That's a huge uh, aspect of these connections is it defies logic. If you were to attempt to talk to somebody who is not on a twin flame journey or who doesn't have the awareness of what the twin flame journey is and looks like, if you were to attempt to talk to somebody about this, they're going to look at you like you're growing a second head. Like it just is what it is. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like that example, let's say that is, resonating with you, that it was something that happened like, 20 years ago or something, and you guys, dated for, a few months, and then you go and, you're going through like all the spiritual stuff and coming to the awareness of things and all of this, and then you go and try and talk to your friend about it and like, dude, I think that was the one. But oftentimes they might be like, but was it? Like, but was it really? Or was it just puppy love? Um, so that could be part of what you're experiencing right now. Um, the thing is, so the card that came out is intimacy. There will be a level of intimacy, and I used this in a previous reading, and I've never really used this term before, but it's so resonant. It's soul intimacy. It's a soul connection. Oftentimes in these connections, you're going to have shared passions. Um, and for, it can be an actual like same passion. I'm hearing musician, so maybe you were both musicians. Um, maybe you both are humanitarians. Maybe you both love animals. Maybe this is an interesting one. And it's kind of funny because I actually went to school for biology, but I just heard like maybe one of you goes to school and studies biology, like college or university, and studies biology, and then the other one, which you still would study biology, but maybe one goes and studies biology to do like field biology and be out in the field and study birds or something, and then another one goes and becomes a vet, or maybe that was something that, one of the passions that you both had was something to do with animals, or maybe it's like public service, helping underprivileged children. It's going to be something like that. There's going to be a passion that is going to be similar. It may present different, but it's going to be a similar soul passion. Helping people, helping animals. Oftentimes, if you're on this journey, you are probably going to feel a calling to help in some way, help the collective in some way, help the planet in some way. And the thing is in this connection, there is this level of intimacy that you probably have never experienced with anybody else. In this connection, I am feeling that you have already met this person, and this is confirmation. There goes my throat. Um, hold on. Clear the throat, please. Okay. This is confirmation that the person that you're thinking of and you're questioning on if they are indeed your twin flame, that they are. Um, so yeah, I just feel like this is really mainly kind of clarifying what you already know, which most of my readings are anyways, but this one's definitely confirmation. This is a huge confirmation reading. What else? Okay, I just heard holy shit. Okay. That's amazing. Thank you, Spirit. Confirmation. It's literally the twin flame card in this deck. So yes, yes, this is your twin flame. Um, in this connection, there's an element of mirroring that happens. Shared feelings and reflection. So some of you could be wondering if this other person is feeling you the way that you're feeling them, and I'm going to say yes, yes they are. They absolutely are feeling this connection. They absolutely, for most of you, your divine feminine is completely aware of this connection at this point. Although it's normal, especially if you're not in communication with this person, it's normal for the feminine to also experience feelings of doubt because this is such a quantum experience. This is such a quantum level thing to experience. It's such a thing that defies logic. It doesn't make sense. Why am I thinking about this person that I had this short-term connection with in such this intense way? For some of you, you might have had a connection that lasted a little bit longer with this person. Oftentimes, though, what happens is the two twin flames will come into contact, and if the feminine and masculine are not able to fully like ground it in and maintain it, it will cause this dynamic to happen, which is so common. You come together in union in some way. It is the most intense connection you've ever felt. The human ego gets in the way, doubt gets in the way, wounds get triggered. I just heard abandonment wounds for some of you, so maybe that's part of it. Maybe there was an abandonment wound that hit that was like, well, if this person leaves me, I'm going to be destroyed. And so then it causes a push and a separation basically in the physical realm. It causes a separation, and then it starts this runner chaser dynamic. Um, and that's just going to depend. Some of you, especially, so oftentimes what can happen in this connection is the feminine will chase the masculine for a while because the masculines, oftentimes, this isn't always, but this is this is the common scenario. The masculine is the one running from this connection because they're not ready for it, and then the feminine will chase. Then what happens is when the feminine is done chasing, and this can be years later, this can be months later, when the feminine, and it's just going to depend on the feminine. So if the feminine is grounded in their themselves and isn't willing to be in certain dynamics, they're not going to chase quite as much as a super wounded feminine will. Um but what happens, it's an energetic thing. So you've got these two halves that are mirroring each other and they're connected by a cord. And then if this one's running and this one's chasing, it's causing this other one to run even more. Then what will happen is it's kind of almost a period of stagnancy where then the soul evolution and in the soul growth really starts to happen. And then the feminine oftentimes, now this is not exactly the case for everybody, this is just a common dynamic that happens. The feminine will go through like a spiritual awakening or understanding of things, outside of this physical realm, so on and so forth. They'll start to go within, do this deep inner work, and then come to a level of healing. Well, because you are connected by that cord, what often happens is if this person is ascending like this, there's only so long that the masculine will be able to ignore that soul growth. And so eventually the masculine is going to experience this soul growth. And that's when the masculine will start to come into the awareness and everything else of this connection. The thing is where it gets confusing and where it gets, kind of interesting is the recommendation for these connections because there's a certain dynamic within them and there is a reason for them. Um, the recommended action is going to be for the feminine to sit in their feminine energy, and then for the masculine to sit in their masculine energy and to really embody those energies. The divine feminine energy, and we all have both within us. I normally say that at the beginning, but we all have both within us. It's just what you're choosing to embody predominantly in this experience. So, beings that you're here and you're watching this, you're probably the masculine, unless you're cross watching. Hello, feminines. Um, Basically, what will happen is this: the feminine will be guided to sit in their feminine energy and to open up and receive and become magnetic to things in her. And I said her, but it's not a gender thing. Um, they will be called to be in this magnetic energy to bring things into their life predominantly. And then there is also, of course, that inspired action that comes up and everything else. This isn't just sitting there and, waiting for everything to fall into your lap. It's just predominantly being in that open, receptive, gentle, feminine, flowy energy. And then what the masculine is being called to do is really embody that masculine energy, get grounded, get rooted, get in that masculine energy and take forward movement, take inspired action. The masculine energy is a more moving energy. It's more rooted in the physical realm. And so the masculine is going to be the one that is asked to pursue the feminine in a heart-centered way. So that's kind of how this works. Where it can get confusing is if you're unaware of this dynamic and the guidance on this journey. For the masculine, you can be sitting there going, the feminine looks like they've got it all figured out. They're doing just fine, without me. And it's triggering all these wounds, right? And so it's looking at the physical aspect of it and then coming up with doubts and limiting beliefs because of an unawareness of what's actually going on. And the thing is this, in these types of connections, it's inevitable the your feminine is feeling your energy just as you are feeling your feminine's energy. It's just, it is what it is. Um, this is something where you can cut the cords 1,000 times, and I do recommend doing cord cuttings. I absolutely do. But the thing is because it's literally the other half of your soul. If we're going with traditional twin flame ideology, it's literally the other half of your soul. So the thing is you are always connected because you are literally the same soul. And so you cut the cords, and when you cut the cords, what you're doing, you're not erasing a soul connection. You are removing energetic hooks in your energy field that are draining your energy. And so it's always recommended to do cord cutting just in general. But the thing is you can cut the cords 1,000 times because, okay, in a karmic relationship, if you have a cord, you will feel that other person's energy big time. When you cut the cord, then you don't feel that energy anymore because you release it entirely. In a twin flame connection, you're still going to feel that twin flame because it's literally the other part of your soul. So it doesn't matter how far away you are from each other, it doesn't matter how long it's been since you've communicated with each other. This person is going to pop up in your thoughts. This person is going to pop up in your dreams. And what can happen is there, especially like if we're going on this, it's been years scenario. And again, take it how it resonates. This is just examples. If we're going in this thing of where it's been years that you've communicated with this person or truly interacted with this person, um, over the course of the first little bit there, especially when you're more unconscious and, just doing the 3D life thing and, job and this and that and whatever. This person will randomly, I call them snap thoughts, but they will randomly pop up in your thoughts just here and there, just randomly. And it'll be like, what the hell? Like, why am I thinking about this person? Okay, and it can be something where like this could be one of the shortest relationships you've ever really had. And it's the one that you think about more than some of the longer term relationships you've had. It's this kind of a dynamic that again defies logic. It doesn't really truly make sense on why you would be thinking about this person the way that you're thinking about them or dreaming about them. Um, it can be one of these things where It's an experience thing where you cut the cords and you're like, okay, you're expecting, just like with karmic connections, like, okay, I'm not going to think about this person much anymore. I'll just have a random memory here and there, and it'll be because something else triggers it. And then all of a sudden that night you'll have a dream about him. And I'm laughing because it's one of those, like, you wake up in the morning, you're like, what the fuck? Um, and so it's just one of those energies, like, no matter how hard you try, you cannot shake this person. And it not in a not in like a negative way. There's also another key component here. Two things. I do have to mention this. One, there is some people who talk about twin flames that will say that a twin flame won't hurt you or can't hurt you. Um, from my perspective, that's bullshit. And here's why. At the soul level, you have the same core soul frequency. That's what makes this so intense when you come together. That's what makes this so, like, you'll feel this person throughout your life, whether you're in contact with them or not. You'll feel their energy. Sometimes you may feel grief all of a sudden and there's no real logical explanation. Well, then you might find out that this, your twin, lost somebody close to them, like they passed on or something of that nature. And you're like, holy shit, I was feeling grief out of nowhere. And you can pick up on your twins energy really, really easily, especially when they're in a state like that, because their soul is calling out for some assistance, for some energetic assistance. And that's kind of part of it too. um but the thing is we are so you've got a core soul frequency, but then you stick a human meat suit over that, and then you put a human ego in that. And then that human ego is, you've got the soul here, but you've got this human ego on top of that. And then they're operating through life. They're growing up, they're going through traumas, they're experiencing life, they're getting wounds, they're having interactions with other people, they're learning, they're doing life, they're doing life, and then you meet. Well, the soul is the same underneath. That soul isn't going to want to hurt that other soul. The human is going to be what is dominant, especially at first, depending on your level of awareness and what you're operating from. But especially if you're more in an unconscious state when you meet this person, which oftentimes you are, because a twin flame union will wake you up or trigger an awakening of some sort, that human ego self will, interact with the other human ego in a human way. And guess what we do as humans? We unconsciously, we hurt each other unintentionally or intentionally. We're just navigating relationships and like, and so I just have to say that. Because it can get confusing when you're trying to discern this and you're like, well, a twin flame would never hurt me, so that can't be my twin because I was devastated in this kind of a situation. The thing is depending on the level of wounding and everything else, that the ego might come in and have some cranky feelings about this. But if you tap into your heart space and you really truly think about this other person, you're going to feel an unconditional love for them. And it's going to be something that's just low key. It might be one of these, like, I just, I hope that life has been good for them. I hope that they've had some good experiences, things like that. There's going to be a longing because, especially if you've been in union with this person, even if it was just a short period of time, no other connection is going to quite feel the same. And, it kind of embodies the intoxicating effects of a karmic relationship with also the peaceful and unconditionally loving effects of a high level soulmate, and it's all in one. And so it's extremely intense. And it's a lot. But those of us that came here to experience a twin flame connection in the physical realm, we came here to do that, to go on these intense, challenging, awakening journeys so that we can step up into our power in a non-ego way and help the collective in some way. That's really the ultimate goal of this. And so for a lot of twin flames now on Earth, they are coming back into union, and it's a beautiful thing. Some twin flames are coming back into union and having like a romantic partnership. Some are coming into union in a way where maybe they work together, maybe they're best friends with each other. Take it how it resonates. But there are a lot of twin flames coming back into union because when you're in union with your twin flame in some way, and you really are helping each other grow and all of these things, when that soul comes back into union fully, it's like igniting that full soul ability. And then what that does is it allows you to embody that energy, ground that energy into earth, and then spread it out onto earth plane and help through this shift that we're going through. Hopefully that makes sense. That was a long little ramble. Let's keep going on the cards. Okay. And I just looked up and saw 2020 on there. So the year 2020 could have been important. The thing with 2020, it's twos and zeros. And so twos are about union and zeros are about I kind of think of them as beginning, but it's also it can kind of be like an open space, like a blank slate kind of thing. And so maybe for some of you, maybe that's what you're looking for is to kind of clear the energy and start from a fresh place with this person. Um, oh yeah. Okay, so we've got pain and hopeless, and I feel like this is probably the energy that you're in right now, which is understandable. It is difficult when you are in separation from a twin. It really is. It's a soul level longing, and especially once you come into the awareness of it, it's just like, holy shit, what do I do now? And I wish I could go back and do things differently. Wish I could go back and have the awareness that I do now, and I would handle everything differently, and we would be in union, and it would be roses and rainbows and unicorns and butterflies and it'd be great. And the thing is you're coming into this awareness now for a reason and allow yourself to move through that pain. Allow yourself to move that pain through you and do your best to shift out of this hopeless energy because I know it feels hopeless, but understand it's not. The other thing that can be happening right now, and I just kind of saw the tower card in my mind. So you could be going through this energy where it feels like life is falling apart. And just know that when life does that, it's because it was on a shaky foundation and spirit is coming in to help you rebuild from a heart, soul centered way. We also have confessions. And so what I feel like is there is a confession that you would like to make to this other person. And I'm picking up again because we've got the twin flame card out here, twin flame reading. You're mirroring each other. This other person wants to confess this to you as well. And so just keep that in the back of your mind when you're processing all of this. And then we've got return, which is second chances, opportunity, and making amends. And so I feel like that's really what you are wanting to do right now is to get into this energy to where you go towards this person and you tell them, and it might not be something where you message this person, maybe you find them on social media or something and message them after 20 years and go, "Hey, let's talk." And then, "Hey, how have you been? Are you aware that we're twin flames?" Maybe, maybe not. For some of you, that might, like listen to your guidance because for some of you that might be, that's hell of an icebreaker. Um and I also just got kind of a giddy laughing energy, and so there could be something about this person and this connection that it's like a compatibility, and I feel like this person made you laugh just like a lot, and then you made this person laugh a lot, and you guys just really are compatible. You guys really do bring out these energies within each other that are beautiful. So we've got conflicted and okay, we've got conflicted, spying, and clinging. So there could be an element of spying on this person, like quote unquote spying. It's kind of that like, social media stalking type of an energy, which, you know, it happens, man. Um, so there could be an element of that. For some of you, I just heard that this person is in the public eye. So your person could be in the public eye and you are watching them in whatever way that is. Maybe they're a content creator, maybe they're an artist that's well known, something like that. Um, an author or something, and you have the ability to watch them from afar. In that, oh, that makes sense. So I feel like you're clinging on to a little bit of this past energy and kind of clinging on to the what could have been different aspect. For some of you, what I'm picking up is so we've got a conflicted energy out here. And what could be happening if you are able to watch this person in some way and see this person? Maybe you can see this person in person, but from watching, that could be giving you conflicted energy or conflicted messages because from the way that they're presenting to the world right now, in whatever way that is, may feel like they're not aware of this. They're not conscious of this. They're not open to this at all. Um, it could be triggering some of the doubts. And the thing is by you moving forward and talking to this person, communicating with this person, reconciling in some way of confirmation, um, it's going to bring clarity. And it can be intense and kind of scary to feel like, you know, you just have to like leap. But the thing is I feel like the situation that you are moving into is going to this person, I feel like they might surprise you on their response. Okay, then we've got mistakes and breaking point. Okay, so you may be reminiscing and thinking about the mistakes that you've made just in life in general, maybe in this connection, something of that nature. And that could be causing some of this hopeless energy is by ruminating on that and focusing on that. And the thing is what this is bringing you to is a breaking point. And the thing is once you hit this breaking point, that's where and that came out over here on pain. And so the fact that we've got pain, mistakes, hopeless, and breaking point, all of this is leading for like it's coming to a head basically. Like it's you are reaching a breaking point. And the thing is by confessing your feelings and your awareness of this connection to this other person, it's going to release a lot of this that you've been kind of stuck in, I feel. And it's not like a, you know, yeah. Anyway. Oh, and then we've got healing. So that is ultimately what this is leading to is healing. And I feel like you are in this point, maybe you've already hit this breaking point. Okay, for some of you, you've already hit this breaking point. You're coming into more of this healing energy. And with this healing energy, it's one by tapping into this healing energy and really focusing on some self-care right now, that's going to help you to really shift your energy into a point where you can move forward with this person. And even if that's just a communication a conversation. Um and I do also feel like this connection is bringing a huge level of healing with it. And the thing is twin flames help each other heal in the quantum realm the whole time too. So this person has been helping you and you've been helping this person. So just know that. And then possibilities, free spirited adventure and risks. For some of you, I feel like your divine feminine has a free spirited energy about them that you're craving. Maybe they're very adventurous, maybe they're the type that's down for anything. Um and then I do feel like it's going to feel like you have to take a little bit of a risk here to move forward and talk to this person. And then we've got fantasy and only you coming out. And so I feel like you're kind of in this awareness now of that's the only person I want to be with. That's the only one for me. And you're fantasizing about what that could look like in the future. What, maybe you're okay. Maybe you're fantasizing about how you can move forward for this person. I just heard like, should I get flowers or should I not? Something like that. Just listen to your intuition. when it comes to that kind of stuff. Okay, for some of you, there is a literal distance, like a physical distance between you. Maybe you live in different cities, different state, countries, what have you. Maybe you're on opposite sides of the world. So maybe there's going to need to be some sort of travel that's involved here. There is also bitterness. And so I do feel like there is some resentment. Maybe there was hurtful words exchanged between you two. And there could also be a bitterness around the way that this situation ended, or kind of how it got to the point it is now. Maybe there was a third party situation, somebody that came in and manipulated the situation and, took advantage of the fragile state that the connection was in. And I just heard like took your feminine from you, something like that. Maybe it was something like, a family member was saying that this isn't in your highest good to be with this person in some way, and so you broke it off and you second guessed yourself and all of that. So maybe there's some bitterness and resentment and anger around the way that this situation ended. And allow yourself to feel it. Do something that you can release. Like, hold on. Hold on, spirit, that was a lot. Do something where you can release this energy in some way. So that might be journaling, that could be using this energy to create with. This could be going to the gym, going for a walk, going for a run, something like that. And then we also have family over here. So I do feel like you might be kind of fantasizing about a family with this person, combining families, starting a family. Um, Introducing them to your family, something of that nature. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one. Or do a couple more, and then we're gonna call it. This one's getting long. All right, Spirit. What else do they need to hear and know? What's my guidance? Let's see. Too busy winning. Okay. What I heard when that came out is maybe that's how you're viewing your feminine right now. And so you don't want to burden them or something of that nature. Maybe this is how you're viewing your feminine. Okay, and then we've got crying over you. And what I feel like is this is actually mutual. I do feel like there have been tears shed in the dark, is what I heard. Um, on both of your ends for this connection. And there is definitely some hurt energy. Okay, and then we've got Inside Scoop that came out in reverse. So what I'm picking up for that, and it fell out on this too busy winning card. So what I'm picking up is that maybe for you, you feel like you have the inside scoop, but um it's still from a different lens. It's still from an outside lens. And so the thing is if this is how you're viewing this person, understand that there may be more than what you're seeing. There may be more going on behind the scenes than what you're seeing. Okay. Mm, do that. Okay, so played out and scarcity tactics came out. So maybe this is part of what's holding you back is kind of a lack mentality or a scarcity mentality. Um, I don't know. Maybe you've played out scenarios in your head where you reach out to this person and they reject you, and that's what's stopping you from moving forward. Ah, makes sense. Hmm. Okay, so if that is the case, what I'm picking up is to do your best to release those fears. And I mean, it's understandable because, rejection does not feel good. And so it's understandable to play out scenarios where this is the outcome. The thing is there are so many other possibilities available that by focusing on this one, it's stopping it before it can even start. It's that kind of an energy. And so it's stopping you from allowing yourself to move towards this person and reconnect with this person out of a fear, basically, out of a limiting belief. And just know, and again, this is going to depend on your level of history and everything else. But with this connection, what I'm picking up, I don't feel like there was a huge, huge, betrayals or things of that nature. I really don't pick that up. I really feel like this was a situation where you came together, it was very intense, and then you separated, basically. And so the thing is especially if you're in this level of awareness, being the divine masculine, the way that these situations normally go, your divine feminine is going to be in an energy, most likely, I don't want to guarantee it, but most likely they're going to be in an energy where they've done a lot of inner work too. They have understood different dynamics, and they've played out different scenarios with you in their head too. I just heard that. And so there's definitely a mirroring energy going on between the two of you. And by focusing on those rejection timelines and those types of things, it's kind of stunting the growth in this connection in any way, because it's not going to allow you to move forward with it if there's that fear attached to it. And so this is something where you can just focus on some of the other possibilities and then release it, and then allow yourself to get the guidance on when the timing is right to move towards this person and attempt to come back into union in some way. So I feel like that's ultimately the main point of this message, is just to give you a little bit of clarity and confirmation, and to just let you know, like, you're not going crazy. This is a real thing. This is what's going on. And it's a precious, beautiful connection. And so allow yourself to pull out of the ego for a little bit. And the ego, it's the part of us that wants to keep us safe, wants to keep us alive. That's its main goal. And so it will come up with all these fear concepts and these limiting beliefs because the unknown is scary, and the scary is potential danger, or the unknown is potential danger because it's scary and it's unknown. And so there's always a potential for danger in the unknown. But the thing is when you're listening to your heart and your soul and your intuition, you're going to be guided towards the soul fulfillment. And especially with a connection like this, the level of soul fulfillment that's available is massive. And so focus on that and allow yourself to continue to come to the awareness, move these energies through you, these emotions through you. Um, and really allow yourself the space and the compassion to come to a place where you are able to move forward in this connection. Okay, well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. This went on a little longer than I intended. Hopefully this helps. If so, you can let me know in the comments below. If you like this message, feel free to hit that like button. It does help out the channel, so thank you. And if you would like to see more from me, feel free to hit subscribe. It is free, and I will see you on the next message. Bye.